Good morning. This is Scott Fletcher.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is Joe Pennington.
Commissioner, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I do not see Commissioner Feinstein on the call, but it is 10 a.m. The meeting is recording, and with yourself and Commissioner Pennington present, we do have a quorum.
Very good. Let's kick things off. I hereby call to order this meeting of the Arizona Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts Commission. Today is Wednesday, February 21st, 2024, and the time is 10 a.m. With those commissioners that are in attendance, please identify themselves and state as to whether they're here via telephone or in person or via Google Meets.
This is Joe Pennington. I'm participating by telephone and Google Meet.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm Scott Fletcher. I'm participating via telephone. Item B is our new business. B1 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36. The renewal license application submitted by Mr. Jeremy Leviathan for a 2024 amateur MMA combatant license. Mr. Velo, will you speak to Mr. Leviathan's application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Leviathan is 49 years old, and I will state that we did issue him a license last year, so this is a renewal application. He, when asked of his preparation for this to become an amateur MMA fighter, he states that he has been training regularly, typically 3 hours each session. So he does 2 sessions per day, 6 days a week. He does cardio 6 days a week, strength training every other day, medium sparring every session, and he says he does heavy sparring once a week. He says he feels prepared to compete because he always sets a training regimen that remains consistent throughout the year, and that he's had experience in preparing himself for bouts in the past prior to his MMA experience. And he says that he has not experienced any recent injuries and he feels ready to compete. With that, I do recommend his approval.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Commissioner, thoughts, questions regarding Mr. Leviathan's application?
Mr. Chairman, I have no questions regarding Mr. Leviathan's application.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Vela, 49 is a number that gets a little frightening, and we're tasked with protection of fighters. Should this come to pass, can we keep an eye on matchmaking and who Mr. Leviathan's getting in with?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you know, matchmaking is our top, or safety of fighters is our top priority, and matchmaking is a big part of that. So we will watch the matchmaking closely and ensure that anybody that Mr. Leviathan competes against is a component in which, or an opponent in which he can be competitive.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. I too have no further questions. The chair would be open to a motion if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, given Mr. Vela's recommendation as well as his experience in making sure that we have competitive matches, I would move that we grant a amateur MMA license to Mr. Jeremy Leviathan pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, AACR 19-2-C604, being a fighter over age 36.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. I'm going to second that motion. We now have a motion and a second. Yes.
This is Eric Feinstein. I've joined by telephone, so I was going to second that for you, but you got to it before me.
It's good to hear your voice. Thanks for joining us. I did second that, and we're about to vote. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Welcome, Commissioner, and congratulations, Mr. Leviathan. B2 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36. The new license application submitted by Mr. Richie Mapronum for a 2024 professional boxer license. Mr. Bella, will you speak to Mr. Mapronum's application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As you can see in his record, Mr. Mapronum is a very experienced boxer. He's 36 years old, and he is from the Philippines, so he'll be joining us here. Well, with if approved, they plan to use him to compete in the March 16th Del Sol boxing event. So we were able to get in touch with him and communicate his training regimen. He says that he trains 1 to 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. He wakes up every morning at 4:30 in the morning and runs 5 miles each day. He says he goes home after that and rests. Then he goes to the boxing gym at 3 o'clock and trains for approximately 2 hours. He spars on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, sometimes on Saturdays when his opponents are available. He does strength and conditioning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And he said that he's excited to return to the United States to fight and show his skills. He believes that he can beat his opponent and return triumphant to the Philippines. When asked why he feels prepared, he said that he's been following his training consistently and has the necessary experience and skills to beat his opponent. He states that he has fought opponents with the same or more experience in the past, and again, he feels confident. He's not experienced any recent injuries, and with that, I do recommend his approval. Now, seeing that he is from the Philippines, I want to make clear that he has submitted an application but has not yet completed the medicals for the application. The intention is when he arrives during fight week that he will receive his medicals. So obviously, this recommendation would be conditional upon him being cleared medically with all the necessary requirements.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Bell. It's your recommendation to approve. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's my recommendation to approve contingent upon medicals being received.
Thank you. Commissioners, any thoughts regarding Mr. Mapronum's application?
No questions from me, Mr. Chairman.
No questions from me either, Mr. Chairman. I would like to note that Mr. Mapronum has an extensive boxing record, and it appears as though he may be ready to compete again.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, the chair would be open to a motion if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, and AHD R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36, I move that we approve a new license application submitted by Mr. Richie Mapronum for a 2024 professional boxer's license, conditional to meeting all the requirements, including the medical exam.
Thank you,
Mr.
Commissioner.
Chairman, I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to Mr. Mapronum. I look forward to seeing you in March. Mr. Vella, C is call to the public. Are there those who would like to chat with us?
Mr. Chairman, let me review the list here. It does not appear that any hands are raised at this time.
Okay. Then let's press on to D, which is call of the commission. Commission members or the executive director may introduce a summary of current events, ask questions, and or make comments. Mr. Vella, is there something you'd like to talk about?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. One thing is Commissioner Pennington had requested that we look into the substantive policy statement regarding state championship contest and the number of rounds in those events. And so I sent over that policy statement to each of the commissioners, and would like to note that in speaking with some stakeholders on the matter, as well as some former executive directors, it's been brought to my attention that the intention behind the number of rounds that is currently written, 6 rounds or 8 rounds, was to make the title more appealing to those that were still kind of up and coming, and to make it available to more of our local based fighters. And so that's just, you know, historical note on that. If the commission is inclined to want to amend those number of rounds, then, you know, we may look at changing the substantive policy statement, but there's a procedure for doing that. So I would need to become a little more familiar with that procedure, and would be happy to update you all on the next commission meeting in an information report. In addition to that, we do have some upcoming events. As you all know, we have Samurai Soul Muay Thai this Saturday. It's going to be at the Embassy Suites in Scottsdale, and it's going to be a pro-am Muay Thai event. So they're going to have, I think, 6 amateur bouts and then 2 professional bouts, the amateur bouts will be sanctioned by the USMTA. The pro bouts will be sanctioned by our commission. And just a note on some of our past events since our last meeting. We had a LFA MMA, which went really well. It went off without a hitch. Commissioner Feinstein was in attendance, and it was a great event. And looking forward to March, we've got a few more local events in the books, as well as a top rank event at the end of the month. So it's a good year so far, and we're looking forward to the remainder of 2024.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Vela. Commissioners, thoughts, questions?
Mr. Chairman, regarding the state championship, you know, that has been in place for some time now, and the commission has grown the participants in the sports, both MMA and boxing, have really dramatically improved. And we're now in a position where this state is being considered one of the top boxing and MMA states for events. So I think that regarding the state championship, that we need to review that and possibly consider changing the number of rounds from 6 to 8 to 8 to 10 to recognize a better level of boxing and MMA contestants that we have in the state now. So that's just my thought on it, and I would appreciate if the executive director could bring that how we review or revise the substantive policy statements for the next meeting, so that we can begin to address that.
Great point, Commissioner. I'd love to see us put on a number of these. I think they're great stepping stones for our high quality fighters in the state. I think it's good for the promoter. I think it's good for the commission. I don't see any downside to putting on any of these events, and the ones I've been to were spectacular fights. So I'd love to do whatever it takes to make this more of a regular event. So Mr. Vela, any thoughts you have in that regard to be appreciated too. But I think I just don't think we're doing enough to get the word out about this. That's my sense of it anyway. But let's talk about it more. I think Commissioner Pennington is certainly barking up the right tree. Commissioner Feinstein, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree if we had more of an established promotional partner and a regular expectation that the state championship bouts would be fought at a certain time of year. I think it would continue. If we were consistent with that, it would grow every year, and certainly could be a big attraction for the state. So I think that's really something we should think about, trying to make that a regular cadence and create the expectation with the fight fans in the state that there will be a state championship every year, roughly around this time of year, and that would get fighters, you know, preparing for that all year, and certainly could get the fans really interested.
Fantastic. Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Vela, we'd
Mr.
love
Chairman,
to keep
I would
talking
like
about
to
this.
support.
Yes, please.
I'd like to support Commissioner Feinstein's statements there. He is looking at it as a much larger event than I was, and I really commend him for thinking of it that way. So I want to support his thoughts on it.
As do I. He makes a great point. Let's continue to pursue this. I think these belts are important and are great stepping stones for really great fighters we have in the state. And I just think we got to push a little bit more and look at it more carefully to get them out there and into circulation. So, Mr. Bella, let's make this a priority if we can. And let's all talk about how best to frame this.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I will be sure to look into it and report back at the next regular meeting.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Commissioners, other things you want to talk about? Commissioner Pennington, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, just if possible, a brief update on our pending legislation.
Please.
Not from me, if
Mr. Vella.
Mr. Vella has
Right.
any input on that, where we
Mr. Vella.
stand.
Commissioner, I'm not sure if Max is with us. Max Hargraves, he would have the most up-to-date information. It doesn't appear that he's on the call, so I will reach out to Max today and see if he could send out that update.
Yeah, that would be
It's my
great, Mr.
understanding.
Vella. Is it possible to give him a section of the next meeting? Max can come in and maybe chat for a bit about what's going on.
Certainly, we can include him on the event reports. I'll check with Max and ensure that he'll be able to give that update in that time. Okay.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Commissioner Pennington, other thoughts?
That was it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Commissioner Feinstein?
No, I would just echo the director's sentiment that it was a great LFA event last week, and really looking forward to the events in March.
Very good. Thank you. I concur. We've got some great things brewing and more on the way. So great things are afoot. Let's press on into the announcement that the next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, March 20th, 2024, and is subject to change based on a quorum. And item F is adjournment. Is there a motion for such?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second
Thank
the
you, sir.
motion.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you all for your time. We are officially adjourned, and take care of yourself.